Hi, this is Kim Watson. Welcome to my weekly outlook for the cryptocurrencies, major pairs, or major coins I should say. Well, same pairs, but it is effectively as a pair because I'm looking at it versus the US dollar. Now, I'm using that just as a benchmark. I know some people would prefer to see Bitcoin or cryptos compared to Bitcoin. I could possibly do that, but generally I see the comparison to a fiat base currency quite useful, particularly when we're looking at learning how some of these cryptocurrencies may work and operate through times when we're seeing equity markets sold off. Are they going to be really truly a place where traders go as a sort of a instead of gold? So basically a move to safety. Our cryptocurrency is going to be that move to safety. At the moment I would suggest not, but there is the potential in future years if they get more and more established. At the moment, well, they're still, I know they've been running for a number of years now, to around about 10 years plus, but in real terms they're quite new. So we're still learning how they behave under certain circumstances. Now, for looking at Bitcoin, fundamental news, etc., makes absolutely no difference really. The dollar doesn't seem to lose any value subject to the news that comes out to affect it. So the sort of fundamental news we would look at for the opposite currency to Bitcoin doesn't seem to be making a lot of effect. But certainly not noticeable. I will look at it when non-farms come out, etc., to see if there is any significant moves or anything that we can really see, but it doesn't appear to anyway. Now, one thing we don't get, so we've got little in the way of fundamentals. We can start having a look a bit of sentiment. The only sentiment we've got at the moment is the Bitcoin Chicago Mercantile Exchange, so we can sort of have a look at what's going on from this perspective, and what the asset managers are starting to, well, there's not very many of them. The very fact that it's got 0 traders there would suggest there's probably only 1 or 2, and they effectively, when the numbers get so small, they just put a 0 there. They don't actually put a number. But well, certainly there's no long positions being held by asset managers at the moment, but certainly whatever they had in long looks like they moved to short over the past week. Also, the leveraged funds themselves, which are more like the hedge funds, so if any hedge funds are actually trading through Bitcoin on the CME, they've again, well, they've reduced their short positions actually, and gone a little bit longer. So quite interesting how the moves sort of running there. And in fact, those funds, those hedge funds, well, 54% long. Probably better than one might have expected to some extent. They're often quite aggressive traders, but maybe they're aggressively long at the moment. Well, they are when we compare it to the charts. So coming back to the charts today, we've had quite a sell-off today of Bitcoin. So I guess the question is this it, or is there more to come? Often in general analysis of consolidation phases in a market, you sort of get consolidation and you get a biggish move. Well, we've seen that in the past in most markets, and I don't think this is any exception really. We've seen quite a big move here, around about 2% come off there earlier on. Not massive, but big-ish. Not massive compared to what we see with Bitcoin in the past. But where next? And I'm just looking at sort of support areas here. We've got the 61.45 area where we actually dipped below that before, didn't it? It ran down to 61.13. And these areas have got to be areas of potential support. 60.42, the $6,000 point certainly may see buyers coming into the market at that point. Although the more you're tapping along the lows here, if it starts breaking down, perhaps we've got a slight bigger correction to come, and it may come back to these more significant lows back there at 58.54 sort of zone, 58.50, somewhere in that region is certainly a possibility. So it does look weak at the moment technically on Bitcoin. It does on all of these pairings I'm looking at. EOS here, it's broken out of the triangle here. How well these technicals will work. Generally, we would look for a one-to-one move out of a triangle from sort of somewhere in about the mid area. Now, if that was the case, that would take us probably right the way down to the prior lows there at 4.22, somewhere in that region. But certainly looking soft at the moment, and maybe you get some sort of support in around about the $5 mark. Ripple, again, sold off, probably not as much in percentage terms, but it's pulled off all the same here at the moment and moving out over one of the bigger sort of losers. Well, in some respects, is Ethereum is dropped below its $2 point, which it's been holding up pretty well for the part, well, since the 15th of October. It pushed back up above that area, but now dropping back down again, so may again be seen as a rather bearish. And there's at the moment, all we've seen with Ethereum is this sort of this mark of lower highs. I mean, it's Bitcoin's held on at times, pulled back, but all we've seen here is a series effectively of lower highs. There's not been any push beyond one of these highs to sort of put something intermediate in there. So it still does look weak, but there's a sort of triangulation. I've drawn this really badly on here because I can't draw using a mouse, but there is that triangle there that perhaps, well, we'll see broken down. In fact, I can put a proper line on there. Don't know why I'd mess around with this sort of, yeah, it's broken that triangle there, which will be a triangle at the bottom there as well. So again, the consolidation breaking down here. Sorry, with Bitcoin, what I was trying to say is well, we had this sort of high here, but it did push up on beyond that at one stage, but it's tried a little bit harder maybe than Ethereum. Okay, moving through then to Tron. Well, it's still sitting in this wide range here, well, heading possibly back down towards the lower trend line there potentially. So, and finally Binance, well, this too looks weak. It's sort of running back down to those prior lows there, and that too could sort of be rolling back to test that sort of trend line which was sort of running from the highs there. So weakness right the way across at the moment. Not a lot to look forward to at the moment, but that's where we go in these markets. Okay, that's it for me for now. Have a great week. Bye for now.